Okay, so this is actually something new that I wanted to try out, and so if everybody likes it, let me know, and we'll try to do this once a month, but I want to go over some developer tools that either I know about or if anybody's got any suggestions to go over to just kind of let everybody know what's out there and see what's new and going on. So for this month, we're going to go over a service that I found out about. It's called DigitalOcean. And who here knows what a VPS or virtual private server is? Okay, so anybody not know what it is? Okay, ish. Okay, well, we'll go over that then. So DigitalOcean, they provide VPS service, which is basically you go in, you set up your own server, you maintain it. There's no control panel other than what you put on there. There's no cPanel, Plesk, any of that kind of stuff unless you put it on there. So think of it as just base install of whatever you want, or in this case, whatever is available that they have. And you set up your server, you set up Apache, you set up PHP, you set up Nginx, you set up light HTTP, whatever you want on there. So it basically gives you full control. So if anybody's used shared hosting before where they've had to go out and, I don't have control over PHP INI, I don't have control over, even how much processing I have or anything like that, and I'm on a server with potentially thousands of other websites. This is a little bit different, but somewhat the same. You're shared hosting, you're on a server with a bunch of other stuff, but with VPS, you're also on a host or a server with other people, but you have your own secluded area. It's a virtual machine on a machine. So you get a certain amount of cores, you get a certain amount of RAM, you get a certain amount of hard drive and bandwidth on that. So they're really cool. DigitalOcean makes it pretty cheap. They're really affordable. Their base server that they have is $5 a month. And they seem to be a really developer-oriented company too. They're built by developers for developers for the most part. So there's no kind of distraction on that. And for the people who might be interested in that, how many are using a shared hosting right now? Yeah, not Greg. When you get to a point where shared hosting really no longer works for you, either you've got so much traffic that it's blowing up your shared hosting and you're getting emails from your host saying, hey, you're using too much CPU or whatever, that's about the time that you want to start looking for a VPS solution at that point. Or if you want more control, say you've got a certain PHP extension that you want installed that you want to be able to use for, say, image manipulation or whatever else, that's probably a good time also to look at a VPS solution. Or if you need the scale, right? You've got a lot of bandwidth or whatever, you've got a lot of things that are happening with your site and you need to move on to something bigger than what you got. It's good for, I'd say, anything from one person, I want to make some websites or I want to host a bunch of websites, up to a fairly large business. And of course, anybody who's a developer, if, say you want to be able to go and spin up a server just to play around with something. Say I want to check out, how to do maybe caching for something, and I've got another server that's actually running my stuff, but I want to figure out how to interact with a different server. This is a good way to do that because it charges you by the hour initially, so you don't have to pay for it for a whole month, and then if you're only going to use it for a little while. So it's a good solution for that too. Why they're awesome, and they're fast. They're really, really fast. So they use SSDs for all their hard drives on there, and Prashant actually did some tests, and he can attest to how fast they are, but I guess blows everybody out of the water, which is nice. You want something to be speedy, responsive, everything else when you got a server. Their control panel, and I'll actually pull this up and we'll spin up a VPS here in a minute, but it's really simple. There's not a lot of guesswork in there. You're not trying to figure out what you're doing. As long as you know what OS you want to install and how to connect to something through SSH, you're pretty much done. You know everything you need to know at that point. The pricing is good. I don't know anybody who's used Amazon for their hosting, trying to figure out what you're actually going to pay by the end of the month. I mean, it's like doing rocket science at that point. It's like, okay, well, maybe this much bandwidth, maybe I need this much CPU, I have no idea what I need for hard drive space. Theirs is stupid simple. It's You go on there, and they've got about 5 different choices that are just their main ones, and then they go really ridiculously high, up to 94 gigs of RAM with a 960 gig hard drive, 24 cores, and I believe it was 90 some odd terabytes of bandwidth. 10 for the biggest one. Look down below that on the list. Is it 10 terabytes? Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, you know, you never know. I don't know what you guys are serving, so. Yeah. Yep, that's the one. Another really cool thing, and I've already taken advantage of this myself, is referral bonuses. So every person that you sign up on there, you get $10 of credit for their service. So, you know, go out, sign up a few friends, tell them how awesome it is. $10, that's 2 months at their lowest tier. So it's not too hard to, you know, pay for your hosting for a while that way. Their community is really awesome. They've got a lot of tutorials on there for all kinds of things. And in fact, I'm finding that when I'm searching for stuff now on how to do things, I'm seeing more and more references to DigitalOcean on Google. I go in and I'm like, hey, how do I, you know, install CentOS for something on a server? And it's coming up with DigitalOcean. So I'm seeing a lot of activity on their community as far as how to do stuff, how to install things server-wise, and also down to applications that you would be running on there. And you can get paid to make a tutorial. You go in there, you make a tutorial, they say it's good, get it posted up there, that's 50 bucks right there. So that's almost a year's worth of hosting right there for a single tutorial. And I've already taken advantage of that also, so it's not that hard. Their support team's really good. I've had one issue with them so far, and it was only because I thought they were going to charge me, or they hadn't charged me for something. I emailed them, an hour later I had, you know, oh, it just hasn't, you know, cycled yet, and you'll see it come off there. So other than that, I haven't had really any reason to contact support on them. So, but they're very responsive, I found so far. The pay-as-you-grow model, it's really cool. You know, if you want to bump up to the next size server, it's not migrate your stuff. They can actually just make that occur on there. So it's really slick as far as that goes. The hourly, the monthly pricing is probably, I would say, the coolest feature about it. And that's where I was saying, like, if you're a developer and you got something you want to try out and you want a server to do this on, you go in there, you spin up that VM and play around with it for an hour. That's all you get charged for. On the lowest tier one that they've got, that's a cent. It's a penny. So you just spend a penny to play around with the server for an hour to see if it can do what you want. And then once it hits the cap where it goes to their monthly price, it cuts off there. The rest of your month is that price. It doesn't go up from there. Like I said, so pretty easy, simple to figure out. And they do have some support for Vagrant, which is cool. I haven't played with Vagrant a lot, so I can't really attest to how well it works, but I see a lot of talk about that. And their commercial is really awesome. It's funny, that's how I actually found them. We were watching YouTube at work. I mean, we were looking for some stuff yeah, somehow YouTube got on at work, and their commercial came up for it, and it's pretty clever. Yeah, it must have been on my phone. It must have been it. So some of the things that aren't really that great about it, they're not an enterprise solution. So if you're looking for something where you have your own network of servers and you want your own virtual private network, you're not going to get that from them. I would hope maybe someday that they do that, because they've got a really good service going on right now. And the Android app is buggy, but asterisk on that is community supported. So somebody out in the community made their app for this. It's not really, I don't think, reflects on them. And I haven't played with the iPhone one, but pretty solid. Yeah. So I think they got some work there on the mobile front for controlling your stuff, but you do have that ability. There's some apps out there so you can control your servers from that. And then they boast a RESTful API, but it's only sort of RESTful. Everything happens over a GET. So yeah, it's GETsful. It's, I mean, it makes it really simple for people who don't really understand REST. You don't need to have a REST client in order to do the posts or try to figure out how to do things like post and put. Without that, everything's over GET. So it makes it simple, but at the same time, for people who do understand how REST works, it's a little irritating, because you're like, this isn't actually REST. It's ish at that point. That's pretty much it. I'm going to go over the, if we want to, I can pull it up in the browser. We can look at how to do it. Some information about me. I'm Chad. I might have told you that at the beginning, but I don't think I did. Did I type hint this? No, I'm not sure. It's a problem. It could be Greg. Huh? I don't know what you're talking about. This is something I'm working on. It's not JSON. You think it's JSON. It's not. It looks like it though, right? Yeah, it's Chadson. Yeah. So if you want to find out some other stuff on some of the upcoming presentations I got a blog going now, and it's really awesome. You should check it out. That was a really bad sigh.
The other focus.
When have you ever known me to focus?
Use the talking videos. Tell the tomato joke. Ketchup.
Well, is the guest Wi-Fi just really slow?
Nope. Feels Greg's on.
Greg, really? Torrents during a presentation?
Sorry, I can't stop that. The office.
I would really love to show everybody this website. How many other people are actually looking at it right now? And that's the reason why I can't get to it. Huh? Oh, there we go. That's all we needed was for Dave to speak. So this is basically when you come in, you've got the ability to create what they call their VPSs droplets, right? So you'll see that reference quite a bit. As you can see right now, I've got one VPS running that I've named and in active status. And one of the things that you can do with any droplet that you spin up is you can create an image off of it, a snapshot at that point in time. So say you go in, you set up a server or whatever, and you're like, I'm going to experiment with this, but I'm only going to experiment with it for a little while. If you just shut down that server, they're going to keep charging you while it's on, or while it's shut down, because it's taking up space on their stuff. But if you go in and create an image of it, and then shut down and delete that droplet, you won't get charged for it. So you can go in, play around with something, create an image of it, and then delete that instance that you have running. They're not going to charge you for it. They don't charge you for the image that you have stored on here. And then when you go to actually set up a new droplet, you can just use one of the images, and it spins up just about as fast, depending on how much stuff you have on that server. If you have a very large server filled up, it's probably going to take a little bit more time. And I believe then another, I'd say, really cool thing about it is you can supply an SSH key to DigitalOcean, and then every VM or droplet that you spin up, it will automatically have that SSH key, so you're ready to just log in on that. You don't have to deal with getting the email that has the password that they've pre-set up into it. You're just ready to go at that point. They also have their own DNS records that they serve for you. So if you want to use them for your name servers, you can, and get that all set up. And that one's really, again, another very simple kind of control panel.
Is that extra? A lot of places.
Nope. None of the stuff that they have in here is extra. The only thing that they have that is an actual extra cost that I've seen so far is backups. If you want backups, it's 20% of whatever the server that you're running is cost per month. So for their lowest one that's $5 a month, it would cost you $1 a month for their backups on that. which to me, I'm not sure, I haven't looked too much in their backups because I haven't had anything yet that I really needed backup for, but you could just as easily spin up an image and it doesn't, or create an image off of it and it doesn't cost you anything for that. Their API, while like I said, robust, everything is GET, but they do have a nice little in the control panel where you can see how everything works. Shows you the request, what you're possibly going to get back for a response, and it is JSON with commas in it, so that works out pretty well if you're doing anything with that. But I've already gone through this a couple times and played with spinning up a new one, and it's not too bad. It works really good. It's pretty fast, but I wouldn't say any faster than just doing it yourself on there. So I'll go ahead and create a new droplet off of an image here. So as you can see, whenever you go in to create one, first thing you do is just name it. So call this FurPug. And then you've got your choice of what size you're going to go. The 512 with 1 CPU, 20 gigs of disk, 1 terabyte transfer, that's your $5 a month or 0.007 cents. So I think they round up though, which is kind of rude, but. And then you can go all the way up to, which they don't show on this one, but, I don't know if no, actually, it'll come up eventually. Oh, look at that, it's fast now. Let that load. So anyways, you got a choice of 3 different regions for your server to be in: New York, Amsterdam, San Francisco. So I think so far I've only used the San Francisco one. When I first started, their New York one they were doing maintenance on and expanding it, so you weren't able to create one on there, but looks like that's back up. So and then you have your distributions. So you got Ubuntu, looks like 9 different variants of that. CentOS, Debian, Arch Linux, and Fedora. And then, so I'm going to go ahead and go with just a standard Ubuntu, newest one. And you also have applications that you can add to this. But actually, I'm going to go with the image, aren't I? So I'm going to do this image. I'm going to use my default SSH key. And I'm going to create my droplet. Except for it's not available there. It's my image. It's one that I've done in the past. So I've got 3 images stored right now on here. And so I'm going to recreate one that I've had before. No, those are the names that I gave it. I gave those droplets those names. Yeah. Yeah, the other ones. I mean, we can go in and create one from scratch if we wanted to also. So, what's that? Fun to do? Yeah, we'll go look at the pricing right here. So yeah, the biggest one that they offer that you can find right here, it looks like they do have larger, you can contact them or whatever, 96 gigs of RAM, 24 cores, 160 gig SSD. Can you? You just have to expand it down. I've yet to have a real reason to do the 96 gig memory server. Like I'm still trying to find a reason for the 512 meg server that I have. So forgive me for not having tried that. But if you want to play with a server that size, it's $140 an hour. So, ridiculously cheap to play with that much power. Really? I have a feeling this has to do more with the Wi-Fi than the actual DigitalOcean on this. Yeah, that's already up. So if I go in now, actually be ready. I didn't realize the status said new. I guess this is a good time. Anybody got any questions?
What is it doing right now?
It's creating my droplet. Huh? No, we're still waiting for it to create. And I'm not sure if I'm waiting for the Wi-Fi here to create the droplet for me, or if it's... No. Right now it is? I don't think it's their site. Honestly, I've never seen it this slow. Okay. Other sites are...
Other sites are not slow.
Like what, Google?
Google, Hacker News,
Okay. I've never actually experienced it to be this slow before, so I'm going to blame it on the Wi-Fi still.
I just came up with a reason for 14 of the 96 gig ones, so I'm spinning those up right now.
Oh,
Maybe
well,
that's
thanks
what
for
it is.
that.
I'd like to point out that Lino's website's loaded.
Yeah. So, interestingly enough, if we're going to make a comparison to Linode, I had never heard of DigitalOcean, but come to find out, a lot of people that I know have, and they speak very fondly of it too. One of people that I know who's into security heavily, that's his job, said that he couldn't forgive Linode for the security breach that they had, and that's why he switched over. So, so there we go. Now we've got our droplet. And again, we've got in the console, there's a whole bunch of things that you can do in here. So you've got your access control, so where you can reset your root password, resizing, if you want to resize the RAM and the cores and the disk size and everything else. And here's where we would also take a snapshot of it. And that's what turns into those images that you can use later. The backups, enabling backups, actually making the backups, I guess, restoring from the backups. Oh, this one's actually kind of interesting, and I didn't find this for a little while, but you can actually go in after you've got it and specify the kernel that you're using on your server. So if you're one of those kind of people who really wants a specific kernel on something, it allows you to do that. And then, of course, destroy. But first, we're going to actually try to connect to it. Well, that's new. I'm going to blame this on me for this one because I'm kind of new to the whole SSH key thing, and I'm not sure why it's not using my SSH key. Yeah, you just go up to the next tier then at that point, or whatever you changed on there. So, anything else anybody wants to see on this? I think I've pretty much stretched this out as long as I can.
Can you expand, like size it up while running, like on the fly?
Yeah. I haven't actually tried the expansion myself. Again, still trying to find how to fill 20 gigs on that.
That's something where you could like have it dynamically.
I doubt it. I mean, I don't know how you could do that really on anything. I mean, I've tried that on my computer at home before where I just plug in a hard drive really quick and see, and that doesn't work so well.
You do make these things go cost a lot harder.
Oh yeah,
It's actually insane.
I know. But unless you've actually got, I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% positive, but I'm pretty sure they don't have some guy running around just jamming hard drives into servers and swapping RAM into them. I don't know for sure. I'm going to go with the speed at which they create the server. Highly unlikely. I think it would be fun. Yes. Yeah. So Greg's making jokes right now for the people who are going to be watching on video someday. No. I don't know why. Anyways, it really wouldn't be that interesting when we go on the command line and add ls at that point, and you'd be like, ooh, ah. So, some cat pictures? You want to watch their commercial? No, you don't. No, you don't. It is good. I don't have any sound though. You're not going to be able to hear it. I'm going to lean over on the microphone on it. So, for everybody who is here tonight, we do have a code for you to go onto DigitalOcean's site, and if you sign up, you get a $10 credit on their service, so you can try it out. I'm not going to say it while the camera's on, because they asked me not to post this to the internet. So if you're interested in it, I can give that to you. They did just actually stop doing their referral code system that they had in there, where you just went in and entered it and automatically gave it to you. So if you are wanting to try it out, once you set up your account on there, you'll go open up a support ticket, give them that code, tell them that you got it from here, and they'll make sure you get it right away. Probably pretty quick turnaround, less than a couple hours, I would imagine. And then we also have some shirts and stickers from them today to give away. Maybe. I actually probably right now have the password in my email, but I have no idea why the SSH key, again, like I said, it's probably my fault that the SSH key isn't working, because I did this for the first time on this. So it works on my other one. It was a really good plan. Any other questions? I know he is. Like I said, Torrington Greg.
Yeah, that one page every 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm. That's his story, and he's sticking to it. All right, well, if there's nothing else, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yep. You're still bitter about that, aren't you? That's funny. You know what? I could change it to 3 stars. Oh, yeah, that's right. That just happened.